2 weeks ago. And this was a position that I was in, I would say about 9 years ago. And, when we think about why fitness and why physical and mental health is so challenging, it's because a lot of us either A, don't pay attention to it, or B, don't have the skill set to address it properly or correctly. So as I make this video, it occurred to me very simply that, a lot of times we think what we're doing, and we are creatures of habit, what we're doing on a daily basis is okay until we learn that it's not. So I'll give you 3 quick tips here on the things that most people fail or drop the ball at or fail to realize on what's important to their health. So we think about water. I've done a few videos on this before, and we've talked about how important and how essential water is to the body and how the brain works and organs and different muscle, tissue, skin, everything that you can think of. And a lot of people think hydration is the same thing, and it's actually not. So a lot of what we put into our bodies is going to be a big determinant as far as how our body performs or functions and what we absorb and what we let out of our body when it comes to waste. Let's be clear. Carbonated beverages that require high fructose corn syrup is not considered hydration. Coffee is not considered hydration. It's considered dehydration. So if you think about 8 ounces or a cup of coffee in the morning, when you first drink that, and that's the first liquid to hit your lips, it actually becomes a dehydration and a stimulant. So keep in mind that water is essential for early in the morning to get the organs going. So what are some solutions? What are the things that you can do simply to maybe help to get started in the morning correctly? And all 3 of these are going to tie in integratively. Keep 8 ounces of water on your bedside. And when you wake up, instead of grabbing for your phone, you actually grab for the glass of water to get your hydration started and your organs started during the day. That is number 1. So we're going to move the screen up, and we're going to go to number 2. Number 2 is proper nutrition. Everybody thinks they eat healthy. Very few people do. And so when we think about the 3 essential types of nutrition, we think about fats, we think about proteins, and we think about carbohydrates. So to be clear, I'm not a nutritionist. I've just worked with some of the best in the world. What people have told me and the nutritionists that I have worked with is carbs are not the enemy. And the reason why is because God made all 3 of them to be on this earth, right? And all fats are not created equal. What do I mean by that? And just because it says on the nutritional fact, it says 12 grams of protein, doesn't mean every protein is also created equally. So I want to quickly break down these 3 things. There are simple and complex carbohydrates. Sugars are considered a carbohydrate. If we can minimize or help eliminate sugars in our regimens that we consume every day, a lot of optimizing our health definitely takes a turn for the better. So think about the things that are hidden sugars that we might not see, know of, or even realize that we're eating. We'll discuss that at a later time in a video. I would just say that carbohydrates that I stick with personally are something like oatmeal, something like whole wheat and healthy grains, things that like rice and also potatoes, like starchy. Those are things that I try and stick with as opposed to sugary type carbohydrates. Fruit's an exception, and we'll talk about natural and artificial as well in a later. Proteins. When it comes to clean proteins, some vegetarians out there or vegans are like, how do I get my protein sources? I want it through plant proteins, or I want it through, soy, which is fine. There's 3 types of proteins, right? There's casein, there's whey, and there's also soy. So soy products, my body doesn't do well with. So no, if you have soy products and you suffer from something, take a look and see if it's that. I personally love meat, right? I'm a chicken person, I'm a fish person, I'm a beef person, and I do it in the fact that we consistently do what we think is good for our bodies, but we also don't cook those in healthy or in heavy fats, or we don't cook them in oil. I usually grill everything, or I prepare everything very cleanly. And then it comes to fats, right? When we think about fats, we think about saturated and non-saturated fats. The three fats that I keep in my regimen are peanut butter, and I try to get the natural kind where you have that oil on top and then it's separated, and it's like $9 a jar. I know it's crazy. It's Laura Scudder's. It's great. That's number one as far as fats that I feel and my nutritionists have shared with me that are healthy fats. The second thing is olive oil. A teaspoon or a tablespoon of olive oil gives you the essential fats. Or number three is avocado, right? And we measure that out, a half an avocado, a quarter of an avocado, however much is in our regimen, and we track that by our macronutrients. So fats are not created equal. Neither are proteins and neither are carbohydrates. But nutrition is important to continually feed your body so it doesn't have to go to a starvation level and hold on to excess body fat, knowing that we are built for survival. And if we're timing our meals to where our body can count on that nutrition coming in and getting properly absorbed, it doesn't have to hold on to reserves, which is typically the belly fat around the midsection or around the organs. And there's two types of fat. There's visceral fat, the fat around the organs, which is the unhealthy type. And then there's the subcutaneous fat, which is right under our skin. So know the difference in those as well. And then the third thing I typically tell clients, and I'm going to kind of finish up with the story here because I don't want to make this video too long. The third thing is sleep. And when I think about how important sleep is and how very little importance highly driven and motivated people put on that, sleep can make the difference, and not only mentally, but physically, emotionally, spiritually. You go down the list. The reason why is because in order for your brain to be sharp and restart, it has to have a time of rest where it can recover, repair, and recuperate. The three R's: recover, repair, and recuperate. That's the same thing with cells in your body. You have trillions of cells in your body, and they're constantly dying and constantly reproducing at the same time. So you think about how important it is to have your body at rest anywhere between 6 to 8 hours each night to get a restorative sleep and not toss and turn all night. And so I thought about the glass of water, and I said, I heard that in the Miracle Morning from Hal Elrod, and I said, how important is that? Well, I have to say, when I started that habit, I didn't really know if it was doing any good or service, but I will tell you this, it didn't hurt. If anything, it helped because it created, after that 30 and 40 days of doing it, it's an automatic subconscious thing that I don't even have to think about anymore because it's part of just as much as picking up my phone as it is to pick up the glass of water. So that's a great way to start the day. And then also, as you train your body, if you're in that rhythmic cycle of sleeping, you're going to start to train your body to get up without having an alarm clock if you're in a consistent routine. And I think about people who function and operate at a very high or elite level in life, if they run businesses, if they are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, athletes. Think about how hard it is to sometimes turn off the mind when we go to sleep. So these are two quick tips that you can do to try even tonight to see if this helps with your sleep. This is what we do for our kids. Number one is we turn off electronics and lights and we start to dim the mood at 7 p.m. At 8 p.m., we have baths and we have reading time. And then by 8:30, 9 o'clock, they're wound down and they're in routine. And usually they get up about 6:15 every morning, and we don't have to wake them up anymore. They get up on their own. And that's the great part of being in a cycle. And we spend so much time with our kids to get them in those habits. Do we pay attention to our own habits? Do we watch TV, or do we keep our phone on at night with that little glow in bed to where we're scrolling through either Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or Snapchat, anything that distracts us to get away from the world so we can quiet our mind and quiet our thoughts, when in all reality, it's actually ramping it back up. So I think about how during the day we have certain stressors, like anything that's last minute and uncertainty, anything that goes wrong at work, any attention that we have to give to the family. All of these things that come up throughout the day, there's stressors. So what are we doing to keep ourselves? Do we go to the gym? Are you doing 20 minutes of cardio a day where you're able to get your heart rate up and get your blood flow, keep your skin healthy? Do you maybe do cryo or maybe do ice baths? Do you do infrared sauna? Do you like to sweat things out? Do you get 20 to 30 minutes of sunlight every day to keep your vitamin D levels high naturally instead of taking a pill for supplements? Do you know your blood work every 6 months? Are you deficient in anything? Do you keep vitamin C in your regimen to stay healthy with your immune support and your lymphatic system? All of these things, the reason why I bring these up is because most of us are not paying attention to them on a daily basis. And usually when people come to me for help, they come to me for help by saying, look, I don't have time, so how can you make this turnkey and easy for me? So the gentleman I spoke to 2 weeks ago, I said, what's your end goal? He goes, I'm 26 years old, I'm highly successful, I've got all the money in the world, and I do not want to be dead by the time I'm 30 and have all the money in the world and my kids grow up with my money, not with myself. And I thought that was really powerful. And I think about the times to where we think a lot of it is urgency and now and importance, and we need to always be working and doing these things to support and provide for people. We also need to support and provide for ourselves because we only have one body and mind. So what I started doing was I started brokering different packages for people, for busy individuals like successful entrepreneurs, business owners, high-level executives. Maybe they don't have the time to go research what works well for them. Maybe their eating regimen is not as regimented as they want to. So we have a company that we partner with, and we design a fully custom meal plan for them where they get delivered directly to their house every 3 days, and they don't have to go out to eat the unhealthy stuff. They don't have to worry about when they need to eat and what their portions are going to be and how much it's going to cost because we made it affordable. For the people who don't know their blood work and they're dragging around during the day and they have to take their 3 p.m. nap and they don't really know why they're feeling lethargic or why they have the mental brain fog, we actually have staff to be able to say, this is where you can get your blood work. We will have a doctor in your area review that and make a game plan with you. We think about recovery. We think about rest. We think about all of these things. An IV drip, right? What are the benefits of getting an IV drip and getting the vitamins there? We have all of these things that we have put in place to where comprehensively, literally it's turnkey. And we've got 3 different levels. We've got a standard package, we've got a kind of like a bonus package, and then we've got the platinum package. And I think about how we're able to make lives better. Make it easier for the person so it's a minimum interruption. However, we're making long strides in the results and progress because we've been there and done that. At 32 years old, I had to look at myself in the mirror and I go, man, I don't look or feel that good or healthy. And then at 37, when my father passed away, I knew that it was time to make a big decision and life change in what I was doing for my family, because I wanted to grow up to see my kids go to college, get married, get their own place, and play with my grandkids so I didn't have to sit and look around and go, man, I can't even get off the couch without my walker or my cane. And so those are the things that are the big wake-up calls that if you fast forward and think about how fast life goes, today could be 10 years from now in just the blink of an eye or a snap of a finger. So that is something that if it's concerning to you, you have to make the change with a team. It's very tough to do on your own, and it's very tough to make that 360-degree shift or navigate through when you really don't know or might not have the necessary resources, support, or tools to know what to do. So what we want to do is we want to give you the knowledge. For those of you, if any of this resonated with you or if any of this said, you know what, I kind of want to learn more, great. You can find me on Instagram at Matt Storm Official, MATTSTORM Official, OFFICIAL. And you can DM me the word health, and I'm happy to get a free consult to see if we can do something to make your life not only better, but healthier and make your family that much in the leadership role that you're taking on. So with that, hope that helped. Hope you got some tips that you might be able to integrate right now as of today or tonight and say, I'm going to start that one thing and I'm going to do it for 30 or 35 or 40 days and see if it helps. So anyway, look forward to hopefully connecting. Hopefully that helps, and we'll talk.